This is in the matter of people of the state of Michigan versus Nicholas Ryan Williams. File number 23-21628FH. I have Elias Mawad appearing on behalf of Mr. Williams. I have Isaac Sneed appearing on behalf of the people. Mr. Williams is also appearing, well, he was. So Mr. Williams yesterday at a hearing and also today, there he is. There you go, is appearing via Zoom. All right, so let me get the pre-sentence report. Okay, Mr. Williams, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Mr. Williams, you received a copy of the pre-sentence report?
I believe so, Your Honor.
Okay, so I need a yes or no. Did you see a report that recommended what your sentence would be in this case? Did you review that with Mr. Mawad?
2 years non-reporting probation, yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you got the report. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, and you reviewed that with your attorney, yes?
Yes.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Mawad as your attorney and the advice that he has given you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Mawad, well, first, Mr. Sneed, do you wish to explain or challenge the accuracy or relevancy of any information in the pre-sentence report?
No, thank you.
Mr. Mawad, do you wish to explain or challenge the accuracy or relevancy of any information in the pre-sentence report?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Mawad, does the pre-sentence report, well, I don't show any prior record, is that correct?
Correct. There are two misdemeanors, so the guidelines would not apply, Judge.
Yeah, okay. All right, Mr. Sneed, is there anything you want to say on behalf of the people, or do we have anybody who wishes to speak today? The court will acknowledge that I received a letter from Cameron Williams, or a victim impact statement from Cameron Williams, and does she wish to speak today?
Yes, she does.
All right, so Ms. Williams, you can bring someone up with you if you want someone to stand next to you. Okay. I got to come up to the podium, and then I need you to state, yep, there's some Kleenex. So first I need you to state your full name for the record, okay?
Hammer.Of.Justice Williams.
All right, and I'm going to need you to speak up a little bit because we have to record this, okay?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
Your Honor, my name is Hammer.Of.Justice Williams. I'm here today to tell you about the lasting effects.
It's okay. Why don't you pause for a minute, take a deep breath. And I'm going to let someone come stand with you. I think a family member's coming up to stand with you, okay? Or a friend, or whoever she is.
My twin sister.
Oh, okay. Now I see that. Okay. Thank you.
Of the sexual, mental, emotional, and physical abuse that was inflicted on me for years at the hands of my now ex-husband, Nick Williams. His actions towards me have changed my life forever, and I hope today that I'm finally heard. To Nick, I want you to know what your actions have done to me. The pain, the fear, the confusion, and the anxiety that I now have to live with every day, all that I have endured because of you, it has changed my life, everything about it. When I married you, I never imagined having to stand in front of a courtroom and speak about the way that you have tortured, assaulted, harassed, isolated, and affected my life in every way. I'm standing here today because no matter what you have done and continue to do to me, I will not let you have the power to break me, not anymore. During my life with Nick, I lived on constant eggshells. I never knew what each day would bring. I never knew which side of Nick I would be faced with. Would it be the love bombing, the gaslighting? Would it be caring or plain cruel? To me, it took years to even realize the moments Nick showed that he cared was all for an ulterior purpose. My days were filled with sexual coercion, harassment, and threats. Nick worked from home so that he could watch my every move and dictate every single thing that I did. Nick would deprive me of my sleep, take away my ability to even clean my own body. He would isolate me. I wasn't allowed to have real friendships. I could hardly even attend family events without there being punishment or being forced to have sex. It was a never-ending cycle with Nick. It was a constant roller coaster of emotions. Every decision that I made was the wrong one. I wasn't able to make even the smallest decision without Nick criticizing or belittling me. If I did anything outside our home, Nick would make me pay for it with my body. If I wanted to take my kids to a birthday party, if I attended a family event, or heaven forbid I wanted to see friends, Nick would force me to have sex as payment. Sex was all that I had to offer him. I didn't work. I couldn't provide anything financially. And Nick made it clear throughout our marriage that all he cared about was sex and money. It didn't matter how much I did for him, how much I did for our children, how much I loved them, how much I cared for them, or how hard I worked as a homemaker. It was never enough. Nick was cruel in ways that I could never have imagined. Once we became husband and wife, everything he vowed to me went out the door. I was no longer a person. I was his property to control, manipulate, and do as he pleased. My wants, needs, feelings no longer mattered. Nick proved this day after day with his constant harassment. He did not care how he hurt me. He did not care to see me cry. He did not care when I called out involved while he forced himself on me. No short of 100 times. There was no conscience behind his eyes. There was many times I had to leave during the night with our children because of his relentless efforts, all because I said no. He would hit the walls, the ceilings all night long to keep me from falling asleep. If the door would lock, he would break the doorknob. He would figure out a way to get in. He would always find a way. If I did fall asleep, he would wake me up by spitting in my face. He's attacked me in front of the children. They too have suffered issues with sleep and feeling a need to protect me because of the abuse because of the abuse that they have witnessed. He would make me go for days on end without showering, just to make me feel as disgusting as he said I was. He would reprimand me for even changing my underwear. When I took the kids to school, he timed me. If I wasn't home at the exact time I should be, he'd be calling or texting. At one point, he even called to tell me that one of my children was injured and needed to go to a hospital. When I got home, our son was perfectly fine. This was all as a punishment for being late and for saying no to sex. His need to control every aspect of my life was suffocating. Nick never hesitated to punish and take away anything that he could to get his way. He would take away my cell phone, my internet, TV, my journals. There were no boundaries, only a means to an end, and the end would be me having to let him use my body. Through the tears, I proved I was nothing, and even when he used me, it only gave me a few days of peace before the cycle of abuse would start all over again. I tried leaving Nick in 2018. After a domestic assault, I filed for divorce. I was finally going to have the strength to leave. Nick sought counseling, even fooled his parents, who he was then living with, into believing that he was changing. I dropped the charges. I dropped the divorce. I gave him another chance because I just wanted to have a happy family. And since then, he's made me regret that decision every single day. As soon as we were back together, he went back to binge drinking. He quit therapy and once again was forcing me to have sex with him. When I filed in 2018, I thought that was as bad as it could get. But over the next 4 years, he proved that I was wrong. It can always get worse, and my life became a punishment once again. I'd love to stand here before you today and say that Nick has changed, that he has worked on himself to become a better person, but I can't. Nick has not changed. Nick is exactly the same as he has been the last decade. He has never been held accountable for any of his actions, so why would he need to change? Why does he need to be a better person if there is no repercussion for being who he is? Nick has proved he is incapable of change. As I stand here before you, he is constantly trying to find out what I'm doing, who I talk to, where I'm at. He's interrogating our children, mutual friends, anyone that he can. I still feel that he is following me. He knows things that he shouldn't. I see him places that I shouldn't. He makes comments about knowing my whereabouts and when I have gone places. It's constantly leaving me questioning and scared. Nick continues to try to control anything and everything that he can. He does not care about the harmful effects it has on me, our children, or anyone else. Nick only cares about himself. Because of Nick's actions, I still carry the physical and emotional evidence with me every day. I have been in therapy for going on 3 years just to try to learn how to cope with the trauma. I still suffer from insomnia, chronic pain, constant headaches, inability to focus, extreme stress and anxiety. There are days that it's debilitating. Nick's abuse has made even the simplest of tasks feel impossible and overwhelming. I feel like day by day I'm waking up only to survive. I'm unable to enjoy the things I once loved. I feel drained. My energy is gone. I have a hard time trusting people. It affects my relationships with others. There are still days that I cannot even stand to be touched. But I have to push through to provide for our and be there for our children, to provide a better life. I am currently the sole provider for our children. After being a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, I had no other choice but to get a full-time job while Nick was allowed to drain our finances, stop paying health insurance and all the bills. I've had to pick up the slack even when there are court orders to protect us from happening. I'm trying to provide the life that was promised to our children, but when they came into this world, no matter how hard it is, and all while I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. I'm still fearful of what each day may bring. But now that I will also have to fear what's to come from even standing here today, voicing how this has all impacted me. I do not feel that justice is served in this court. I do not feel Nick has learned anything from the sentencing. I think Nick will continue to feel that he can get away with anything because he has proved to himself that he can. Nick's tether was removed and no one told me. I found out from my 8-year-old son. His words were, "Dad's tracker's off. He said now he can do whatever he wants." Knowing that this statement would find its way back to me because he put it out there for it to. There has been unfortunately countless show causes, motions, ex partes filed because of Nick's lack of ability to follow court order and he shows continued lack of respect for any type of authority. I'm sorry to have lost hope and faith in this court system. I do not feel the sentencing will lead to anything other than more pain and fear for the years to come. I do not like considering myself a victim. That means giving Nick even more power over my life. However, in this case, I'm not only a victim of Nick Williams, but I'm a victim of Lenawee County. I will carry the weight of what Nick's done to me for the rest of my life. What I've said today does not even scratch the surface of what he has put me through. However, I respect your time. I know you don't want to be here all day or even multiple days, quite possibly even weeks, if I were to continue on with the full graphic extent of the abuse that I have suffered. I'm also not ready to relive the trauma, and I will be trying to heal from every day of my life. I hope today you see me and hear me as a real person, not as a court document or a piece of paper.
I'm so sorry.
I'm simply asking for justice and for Nick to be held accountable for the torture and anguish that he's put me through. I pray that someday I will be able to heal and find peace. Nick has already taken so much from me, and I just want to rebuild what's left from the scraps he left. But I cannot do that if I have to continue living on edge and fear every day of my life. Thank you.
Welcome. Anything you'd like to say, Mr. Sneed?
I have nothing additional. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Mawad, is there anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Yeah, first I want to tell Cameron, thank you for giving her our feelings. I think that's good when a victim is able to give out and talk about certain things. This is what I know, Judge. When I've been involved in this case for a long time. I've read a lot of the stuff that's occurred in the domestic, the divorce. Every time I've read something in the domestic case, it's been nothing but complimentary of Nick. He finished his therapy. He's doing well. Cameron said in a deposition, he's a good father. I read the deposition in the domestic case. I don't know anything about past the criminal matter in their relationship. They're divorced. They should be divorced. They both have to work on the kids and to continue making sure that these kids are raised correctly. I know that Nick's a good dad. No one's ever said that. I just wished both of them a great future. I think Nick would like to talk. I've talked to him already about some of this stuff. He does have his ex-wife's feelings, but I hope that she does heal up and she moves on. But I hope that my complete wishes are for the new year that they both do very well in raising these beautiful kids of theirs, and I think they can do it.
All right, Mr. Mawad, who did he complete counseling with?
Judge, can I ask Nick, who did you do all the counseling with for the domestic case? Sorry, Judge.
McCullough Vargas.
McCullough Vargas, you said?
Yes.
Did you do any counseling with Sally Welch?
No, Brene Moore.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, Mr. Williams, is there anything you'd like to say on your own behalf?
At this point, Your Honor, I'd like to stand with my lawyer's comments. I'd like to move forward from this divorce. I took a very significant loss in our finances to make sure that that happened during mediation so that we could move forward with the divorce. I've had my kids 50-50 for several months. They're thriving. They're doing well. I look forward to co-parenting and doing things that are in the best interest of our children moving forward. That's all, Your Honor. Thank you.
In determining the appropriate sentence in this case, the court has considered the seriousness of the offense, your history, the principle of proportionality, the statutory penalty, the cost of confinement, the sentencing guidelines, the report and recommendation of the probation department, as well as what has been said upon the record of this hearing. The criteria and reasons for the sentence are the nature and gravity of the offense, the discipline appropriate to its commission, deterrence against repetition by you and by others, the potential for reformation, vindication for law, and the protection of society. So, Mr. Williams, there was a plea agreement that was struck between the prosecutor's office and your attorney that stated that you would enter the plea and that your 1-year jail term would be suspended. You would be placed on probation for 2 years, non-reporting, and that your tether would be removed on the date the plea is accepted, and you would be not required to register as a sex offender registration, and the other charges would be dismissed. That Killebrew plea was entered with this court. Mr. Williams, I have watched you through both your divorce case and also this criminal case. And the one thing that is constant is, well, one, that you follow Mr. Mawad's direction, but two, your lack of remorse, empathy, or even emotion about any of this, and your continued toying with her and trying to control her throughout the divorce case. So, and the divorce is final, right? The divorce is final, but yet you still are not in compliance with that. And that to me just signals a continued desire to control the situation. I don't foresee you guys ever being able to co-parent because, you know, I just don't see that as a possibility. But, you know, maybe with help, you will reach a better place in your life. So it's a sentence of the court that you will be placed on probation for a period of 2 years. During that term of probation, you will honor the no contact with Ms. Williams. And so Ms. Williams made some statements regarding things that could be a violation of the PPO. And if there are violations of the PPO, she needs to file that with a show cause with the court. And then also that could result in a violation of your probation. I'm also going to order that you enter in complete domestic violence counseling with Sally Welch. Your probation officer will get you the information on that. That's a long-term program for domestic violence. There is, based on the plea agreement, a non-reporting probation, but you must enter and complete that program with Sally Welch and provide that to the probation officer. I'm going to order $750 in court costs. Misdemeanor fees. There is, because they're misdemeanors, it would be $75 crime victim rights fee. There is $50 in state costs for each count. So that'd be $100 state costs. Is that right, Ms. Fay?
Yes.
Okay. And then on the aggravated assault, there is a $200 fine. And on the stalking charge, that also is a $200 fine. So a total of $400 in fines. Mr. Williams, again, no contact with the victim, Cameron Williams, in this case, not to engage in the assaultive and threatening behavior and you are to sign any release of information requested by the probation department. But anytime they have cause to believe you violated the terms of your probation, they can access your computer, your phone, your car, and your home, and to determine if there is a violation. You're not to use any illegal controlled substances or commit any criminal offenses. So, Mr. William, is there anything else, Mr. Singh?
No, thank you.
Else? All right, so Mr. Williams,
Judge?
you will need, yes,
I
sir.
apologize. I think there's a carve out for, and we're gonna deal with this next year in the PPO violation, but there's a carve out for visiting or talking on the domestic relations, the computer, the emails system, if I
Yeah,
remember.
by app close, so
Yep.
they'll be able to continue. But remember, that is regarding the children only and must be respectful and appropriate, so we'll allow for that. So Mr. Williams, well, obviously not this week, but next Thursday morning, I need you to report to the district court probation department between 8 and 10. They're gonna have you sign your terms of probation. You can get the information on Ms. Welch to enroll in that domestic violence counseling. And then they'll give you instructions on how to proceed from there. Because of the nature of the charges, there will not be, he has to stay on probation for the maximum of 24 months, so we can't shorten that term of probation. Mr. Williams, we are going to mail to you 3 copies of your notice of right to appellate review. There's going to be a self-addressed stamped envelope as well. And on the first page, I'll have where you can initial and date it, fold that up, put it in the envelope and mail it back to us so we know that you received it. The other 2 copies are for you. And if you wish to appeal your sentence, you would fill out the information on the form and mail it to the address listed on the form within 42 days. Anything else, Mr. Sneed?
No, thank you.
Mr. Mawad?
No, thank you, Judge.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you very much. Nick, I'll talk to you in a little bit, okay?
Okay.